We've got a very technical episode today. So putting controls in your environment is fine, but checklists don't check the actual efficacy of the controls you put in. They have to be tested. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at Atomic Red Team, an attack platform that allows you to comprehensively and holistically test your controls in your environment for their ability to detect malicious behavior and respond to them. We're going to be doing a live demonstration after I explain the Atomic Red Team platform on attacking a Windows server that has Lima Charlie's EDR solution installed on it. We're going to look at how Atomic Red Team works on the environment and how Lima Charlie's EDR responds to the activity and basically does its job, right? So stay with us. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we've got a really great episode today. I'm super pumped. Some of our episodes are a little bit more technical, some are more kind of career or operational focused, but today we're going to be jumping behind the computer. I am going to be setting up an environment, it's already built actually, with a Windows server installed up in AWS. It's got the Lima Charlie EDR solution on it, so it's relatively secure, right? It's prepared for a corporate environment. Now, instead of just like blindly attacking it, right? I'm going to be testing it using the Atomic Red Team attack platform, the Invoke Atomic Red Team attack platform. Now, I'll explain all of this and show you exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But what I want to tell you is this video has something for everybody. If you are a red team or an aspiring pen tester and you're on the offensive side of the house, we're going to be looking at MITRE ATT&CK and Atomic Red Team. And this is basically the entire ideas behind a comprehensive attack, like kind of the cyber kill chain, but exactly how to do it. What are the commands you run on the machine once you get in and exploit it? What's post-exploitation? How do you do privilege escalation? All of that, the terms are explained, the techniques are documented and shown, so it's an amazing wealth of resources. If you want an extra video on MITRE ATT&CK or Atomic Red Team, let me know and I'll do that, but this is going to be something special, okay? If you are a blue teamer, this is awesome because you're actually going to see like what behavior looks like on an endpoint when it's actively being compromised, and you can understand what it looks like, what it feels like, what kind of logs are being captured and stuff like that. So it's a lot of value for both of those groups. And I'll throw some love to my GRC people. By looking at this, you're actually going to understand that when you are asking, like maybe in an audit, like, hey, are you guys, handling credentials, right? Are you like handling credentials, or is data at rest encrypted and stuff like that? Typically an admin might say, yes, we use Lima Charlie EDR for endpoint detection and response. Our endpoints are covered. Or we use, whatever, pfSense firewalls, like, okay, so you got a firewall, check. Well, by using an attack platform like this, you are actually coming up with a Boolean response. Did it stop the attack or did it not stop the attack? Did it detect the attack? Are we even aware that we were attacked? And this will drive the efficacy of your security program and help you make a clear argument when you're asking for resources at budget season on purchasing a new solution. Hey, we are completely exposed to this particular attack vector. We need to do something about it. And then once you buy that solution, you can use Atomic Red Team to validate that you've got it properly configured. You can even use it if you're vetting two different products against each other to see if they're able to detect kind of like common attacks or attacks that maybe are specific to your industry. So like, let's not waste any more time. Let's hop behind the computer. I'm going to show you everything you need to know. And real quick, if you're into this, consider subscribing to the channel because we pump videos every Monday, all right? And special thanks to the Instagram community for voting for this particular video for me to do this week. If you're interested in participating in the voting, Gerald Ozier, Simply Cyber at the Instagram, and you can connect with me there and vote on episodes that I throw out, okay? So let's hop in and get first. Before we go anywhere, we have to take a minute and talk about the MITRE ATT&CK framework. So this is the MITRE ATT&CK framework. I'll put the link in the show description below. This is provided by MITRE. It's an awesome resource. And it's basically like a full taxonomy of the entire scope of what like an attack threat actor is going to do or potentially do on your environment, right? It's kind of maps to the cyber kill chain. MITRE ATT&CK's got way more going on than just what we're going to be looking at today. So if you're interested, put a comment below that you'd want me to do a video on MITRE ATT&CK, and I'll do one special for this. But what we're looking at is basically here are all the tactics and techniques that MITRE or that threat actors can use, and Atomic Red Team is going to be able to allow us to test for these specific things. So let's just look at credential access. So like once you get on a machine, right? So a threat actor gets access to a machine, maybe a web server in the DMZ, or they're able to remote onto a box. One of the first things they're going to want to do is get elevated privileges, right? Either by escalating the privileges of the account they currently own, or more likely trying to see if an admin or a domain admin has logged into that machine at some point and the credentials are cached on the box, okay? And there's techniques for doing that. So like, let's just look here. We're going to go to credential access. You can see MITRE allows you to drill in. It gives you a nice, clear explanation of what credential access is. So stealing credentials, like we just mentioned, and it shows you all of the techniques that they have identified, right? Now, this is based on actual, tons and tons of attack data, right? So this isn't just them guessing. This is legit. So you could see the technique brute force, right? So then a sub-technique, you can guess, you can crack, you can spray, right? So they've got it all here. Now, what we're going to be looking at today is, there it is. OS credential dumping. Okay, so you get on the box and you dump the Windows, or you get on the box and you dump the creds that are on the box, right? From the operating system. How can this be done? Well, you can attack LSAS memory, which is like Mimikatz. You can attack the SAM, right? NTDS. There's a whole bunch. DC Sync I'm not familiar with, but anyways, there's a whole bunch. This is for Linux, right? So there's a whole bunch of different ways to dump creds on the box, but now that you know that, how do you do it, right? So you can see, by the way, they have this T1003. This is the identifier for OS credential dumping, and then T1003.001 is LSAS memory, .002 is SAM, you see? Okay, so, oh yeah, here we go. Here's another way of showing how it's broken out by sub-technique. We're going to be looking at this particular one today for the demonstration, but I just wanted to point out that it really lays it out nicely. MITRE ATT&CK is such a resource for our community. Okay, and then here is the actual drill into the OS credential dumping SAM, right? So you can see a number of tools can actually do this. Mimikatz you should never see running on your environment. GSEC dump, right? So you may have heard of some of these tools during your studies or through your travels. This is what it is, right? It explains it all quite nicely. Okay, so now we understand what the attack is that we want to do. Let's just say that we've been asked by our boss to prove whether or not the solutions and the controls we put in our environment could detect this particular attack. Well, the best way to tell them with a definitive response is by actually testing it. But how would we do that? Well, enter MITRE ATT&CK framework. Now, the people at Red Canary have created Atomic Red Team and Invoke Atomic Red Team, which is a attack platform to implement Atomic Red Team, right? So you can use Atomic Red Team for the individual test, or you can use an execution framework like Invoke Atomic Red Team, which is what we're going to be doing today. So within Atomic Red Team, you can see this is such a great tool, right? It allows you to test your controls by using simple atomic tests. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, you can see the whole list of atomic tests is here, but we're just going to be looking at Windows ones, okay? You can see it maps to MITRE ATT&CK, which we covered already. Now, here's the interesting thing. Windows atomic test. Here's that identifier in the sub-technique, right? For ARP cache poisoning. Contribute a test. So this is a community-driven project. So they don't have tests for every single element in the MITRE ATT&CK yet. But people are adding, they are adding. See, they got one here for credential API hooking, credentials and files, right? So let us find that T1003, right? .002. There it is. Security account manager. So there is one already for this one. Excellent, right? There's actually 4. So here's the description for MITRE ATT&CK, which is, really, really useful. It's basically very similar to the verbiage that was on the MITRE ATT&CK page here, right? But here are the actual tests, right? registry dump of the SAM creds and secrets, right? And then it goes in and explains it, right? Exactly. Here we go. Here is the test, right? You're basically dumping out of the registry to a file these 3 registry settings, or keys, or whatever you want to call them, or files, registry elements, right? So, and then, like I mentioned before, you want to clean up afterwards by deleting, these files that you had just created. Here's another one. Okay, so hopefully you understand at this point that Atomic Red Team breaks it down into the simplest level of actually running the commands that a threat actor would run either manually or with a tool, and you can run it on the box. Okay, so we've got Atomic Red Team there. Now, just as a quick aside, we are going to be using Lima Charlie. Here's their product, excellent EDR solution. It scales up very nicely, and this is the agent that is installed on the Windows box we're going to be using. I'm not going to go into how to install Lima Charlie. I did a video already on that, so if you're interested, you can go check that and come back here. But just know that the environment is this: Windows box, Lima Charlie running on it, so it's protected. We are exploited the box, so we're on it, and we're going to be doing kind of post-exploitation activity. In this case, dumping creds from the box in hopes of finding a domain admin or somebody like that. Okay, so this is our Windows box. Okay, it's in AWS. I'll just point out here. Okay, I am an admin already, but that doesn't matter because we're just testing the efficacy of Lima Charlie. But it's this Amazon box. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is basically get the attack platform, right? So let's do that. The installation instructions are very, very clear. They're at on the GitHub here for Atomic Red Team. We don't want just the execution framework. We want the execution framework and the Atomics folders. The Atomics folders is where all the tests are, right? So you want the framework and the test to run. So it's very easy. You just get all of these. Oh, come on now. Just copy and paste this whole thing, right? Now, I already have done this on my environment, but I'll just run the command anyway so you can see it. Boom. See, it says I've already installed it. Your experience will be a little bit different if you have not already installed it, right? Right. So now that we've got the attack framework installed, next we have to import the module, which I'm not a big PowerShell person. I'm trying to become a better PowerShell person. But when you're using PowerShell, you have to import this module every single time unless you add it to your PowerShell profile, which I have not done. All right, so we've installed the framework. Now we're importing the module. That's been done, so now we're good to go. So list atomic test, right? So now we've got our framework installed and we're ready to go. So let's just show you really quick what it can do. This is just interfacing with the framework, not actually doing exploitation activities. See? So what do you have in the way of T1003? Again, looking at MITRE ATT&CK T1003, it maps to this OS credential dumping, so we know that that's what we're looking for. Okay, so the framework is now installed and built and we're good to go. No exploitation has happened yet or malicious activity, but I just want to show you really quick about Atomic Red Team. So you could see here, this one's calling out, show me the tests you have, the atomic test for this specific technique. But we can also do this to show all. So I just want to show you kind of what it's going to look like. Right? These are all the atomic tests you can run. You can see the technique number here on the left. You could see the sub-technique there. So this is all that we've installed, right? This is all of the attacks that we can execute right now. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, so we've got our attack platform staged and ready to go. Now let's just take a moment and look at Lima Charlie. By the way, if you have any questions or troubles with the Atomic Red Team, they actually have quite a bit of really good getting started with Atomic Red Team, way beyond what we're going to be doing in this video on this YouTube channel. So it's definitely, or a series, I'll link it in the show description below. Okay, so here's our Lima Charlie environment, right? We've got our Simply Cyber Lab. We've got one agent running in the environment, right, which is our Windows box. you can see it's kind of tough because I'm trying to cram it all into this window, but you could see there's our sensor, EC2 AMIS, right? ZBPG, right? And remember ZBPGA, right? So it's all there. That's our host, and basically our environment is monitoring it. Lima Charlie's EDR allows you to like put in all sorts of detection rules and really, make your own. This is definitely a enterprise grade solution, and it's designed for seasoned engineers to manage. You can be a junior engineer and work in this environment, but you should definitely have someone who's like a detection engineer or a senior analyst who's built and kind of configured the environment up for you. So we're going to be looking at add-ons. I have already. It's kind of hard with this. You can't really see it because I got the screen so jammed up. But we've basically taken the free Cyteria rule set and applied it to the environment. So that's already on. So we are going to be detecting activity. Now, one interesting thing to point out is you need detection and response rules. So it's fine that we detect malicious activity on the environment, but what are we going to do about it when something happens, right? So I've created this, and special shout out to Max over at Lima Charlie who worked with me on defining this rule. I've built this rule, right? So if we detect this event, right? So the Cyteria rule is actually going to capture this as a detection. So if this rule happens to show up in our logs, then take this action, which is basically kill the parent process, right? So with this event, it's not exactly a one-to-one. This is not the response you would take in a real environment, but this is going to show you that the Lima Charlie EDR solution is actually successfully detecting the malicious behavior. Okay, and to make it so it's disabled right now, so we're going to run it in a disabled set to see how it looks, and then run it with enabled. And just to make it even cooler, or what I think is cool, we've created output here. You can see I created this one. It's an SMTP module called Danger Danger, Sam Creds Dumped. And basically what this is going to do is if the detection rule, or if the detection is captured, if this OS credential dumping is captured, then that output fires where it's going to send an email to a pre-configured email account that I have to alert me. So I don't have to be looking at this console all the time. Like when bad stuff happens in the environment, the EDR solution tells me, hey, something's messed up. So think of it as like having an ever vigilant, night's watch, watching this Windows box or watching your environment. And when bad stuff happens, they let me know, right? So I can sleep easy until my phone rings, right? Okay, so that is the defensive piece staged in the environment. So now like let's actually use Atomic Red Team, okay? Everything's been building up to this moment, okay? So how are we going to execute the attack? So this is important. Some of these tests do require that the environment be staged in a specific way to make sure that you can actually run a test, right? Because you want it to be a successful test. So you can see you can put in like the test you want and then actually do check prereqs to make sure. So let's do that real quick. Good. Doesn't look like there's any issues with that one, okay? Do the brief details on this particular test. Oh wait, no. So you can do the brief, which is that, or you can do the full, which is this, right? And I wonder if you can do the sub technique. I don't even know if this will work, y'all. I think I put too many zeros there. Oh, you can. Okay, cool. All right, so it looks like we're going to be looking at T1003 tag 2. Look, here's the cleanup temp SAM. So it's going to dump creds to that temp directory, right? Okay, so we can see that PowerShell is going to write to the temp directory. We've got the temp directory here right now. There's a couple files in here. This atomic execution log, which is fine. Okay, so now let's run an actual test. So we're going to invoke atomic test, right? That's the PowerShell command for the platform, the module. Here's the test we're running, T1003.002, which is that SAM hash dump, and the test number 1, because you can have multiple tests, right? So this is super atomic. There it's running and completed successfully. All right, so we dumped the creds. Now let's look in our temp directory, and there you go. You can see there's the 3 files that were dumped that weren't there before. Cool, right? So now let's see if Lima Charlie detected it. Because, by the way, on this Windows machine, nothing looked different, right? So if someone was remoted into your box and you didn't know it, and they ran this command or they dumped these creds, there's no indicator that that bad stuff just happened, right? So let's see if Lima Charlie detected it. We're in the detection section now. Lima Charlie, after running our credential dumping, let's see how it responded, how it checked. Okay, so there it is. So Windows offline SAM password. You can see, whoops. Okay, and you can see, yep, so it's, this is UTC time, but basically 9 a.m. on the 23rd here, perfect. Offline SAM password cracking was detected on this box. You can, I told you the Soteria rules, and then here's all of the details. Again, bear with me because I'm trying to cram it in to fit on the screen for y'all, but, it tells you what commands were run, right? Recognize this from the Atomic Red Team. Like, this is the command that it would be run. This is great. This is all exactly what we wanted. Now, obviously, the detection happened, but you would want this type of behavior. You would want something to happen. Now, in a lab environment, it's a little bit different than the way that you would actually be doing this in practice. Like in practice, you'd want all sorts of, you might have orchestration where if this is detected, it isolates the box, makes a copy in IR VLAN, and it notifies an analyst to take a look, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. The point I want you to take away from this is that Lima Charlie detected the behavior. Now, in our world, don't we want something to happen? Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the DNR rules. We have those SAM creds dumped detection and response rule I showed you before, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to kill off the process if it detects that detection, which is what we just looked at. Let's go ahead and enable it. Now it's in play, right, people? So let us actually, we gotta run the cleanup now, right? We can't just have, even though it just wrote files, we want to clean it up. So let's run the cleanup command. Very nice. And you can see we can go back and confirm that those files are no longer here. Great. Okay, we're gonna run it. We're gonna run the command with the detection and response rule enabled. See, okay, so it did kill the process, but the files did write. Okay, so that was really not a great response, detection and response rule that we wrote, but the point is it did kill the process. So, the bad guy was able to dump those files, but the process that was doing it, their kind of terminal shell in, was killed, right? So on top of this, I've configured it with that SMTP, remember? So you could see, oh yeah, like look at all these things, right? So this is us screwing around. If you could see, like if you get this this notification, you can tell like, okay, there's a host in the environment that's being compromised. The detection rules are going off. Like, let's see, SAM creds dump, SAM password cracking is the detection. Here's the box. Of course, you would want a different response, but I'm just highlighting the fact that you can have the alert go, notify someone that this issue is actually happening. All right, so I hope you've had fun with this. We basically showed you MITRE ATT&CK. We showed you Atomic Red Team, how you can use it to test the efficacy of your controls, and we actually ran it in an environment on a Windows machine running Lima Charlie's EDR solution. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. It was a lot of fun getting to learn Atomic Red Team. Special shout out to Brandon Poole over at Soteria for recommending Atomic Red Team. And until next time, stay secure.